Hello guys, today we are discuss with 30 automation interview questions and answers. Let us start. What is the difference between a single slash and double slash? The difference between single slash and double slash in XPath. Single slash select the immediate child from the root or current node. Example HTML slash body div select the div is a direct child of body, and the double slash select any distant grandchild from the current node. If for example I select all the div element in the document regardless their position. In short, present with single slash direct path and the double slash relative path in any labels. What are the different test NG annotation and what is their execution order? There is a common test NG annotation before suits test and before class, before method, uh, at the rate test, after method, at the rate class, at the rate test, and after suit. Purpose of the key annotation: before suit run once, a- ably after the entire test suit, and the before test run before ably after in XML file. Before class run once and all the method in a class. Before method run before for each at the rate the method and the test the actual test cases. What is the Jenkins and its role in automation testing? In Jenkins, basically the role in automation testing, Jenkins can automatically trigger your automation test script like a Selenium playwrights API testing whenever code is a push on or schedule. CI/CD integration, it ensures that the test can run every time and their code change. Help debug and early bug and build a pipeline. Jenkins support the pipeline code using Jenkins files, allow you to define a stage like a build, test, and reports after the deployment. Plugin supports has a plugins for the tool like Git, Maven, TestNG, Allow, and JUnit, Docker, and Slack. Report and notation: generate the test report in HTML, allow, and send a bill to the result via email or stacks. Use cases are the developer push the code, Jenkins detect the change and run the automation test suite, send the code after the deployed successfully. What is the polymorphism and how is applied in Selenium? Polymorphism is an object-oriented programming concept that means a many form. The ability of a single interface method behave differently based on the object that implement it. There are two types of polymorphism: compile time morphism, which is method overloading, and runtime polymorphism method, which is method overriding. Polymorphism in Selenium, Selenium WebDriver support a polymorphism by allowing you to use a different driver like Chrome driver, Firefox, Edge through the common WebDriver. You can write your test code against the WebDriver interface rather than a specific browser runtime, and you can switch the browser without changing your test case. What is polymorphism and how it applied in Selenium? We define with overloading. and method overloading feature compile time polymorphism in Java, not supported natively, and Python, where multiple methods in a same class have a same name but different parameter, type, number, or sequence. It improves code readability and reuse, allowing one method name to handle different input. In Selenium, method overloading is useful when you want to define a multiple variation of an node. Uh, Python doesn't support method overloading natively. What is the page object model and why is object repository used in a POM? Object model is a design pattern used in a test automation frame that enhance the maintenance and code reusability. In a POM, each page in application is represented by separate classes. That, that classes contain locators for element on the page, method that perform action on those element. The object repository is a centralized place in the page object model class where the element locator are defined. Benefit of page object model separation or concern. Test does not deal with the locator only action. Easy maintenance. It locator change update only in the one place. Improve readability. Test took linked and readable. Reusability. You can reuse the same page class across the multiple test cases. Why is a page factory used in an object repository? Page factory is a initialize web element in the page object model and help manage object repository more efficiently. Key reason है automatically initialize a web element using find annotation. Improve code readability and maintainability. Support lazy initialization. Element only loaded when the use reusable and the code. We write with a find by find id equal to username web element user by find I id equal to password web element and the page logging driver. And the last page factory is initiated by the driver this keyword. How do you use the select class in a Selenium for handling dropdown? In Python, Selenium provides the select class interface with the HTML dropdown. From from select driver support UI import, we can write the code equal to dropdown and the select driver find out element id equal id is a country. And second use with the drop down select by visibility text by visible. And the third text drop select value is equal to India. And drop down select dot by index drop down and equal to the positioning of the in drop down option. The select class in the Python Selenium simply working with a drop down using readable manifold like select visible text and select value and select by index. How do you work with a frame in Selenium? How many way can you pass a value to the frame? In Selenium, frame are HTML element iframes that that embedded add another page, the current page. The to interact with the element inside a frame, you must first switch the driver context to the frame using by index driver dot switch to dot frame by name and id driver dot switch to frame name by element frame element equal to driver dot find element and tag name. driver dot switch frame and the frame element. You can switch frame in Selenium using index name of the id. Web element always switch back using default content when you are done interacting with the frame. Can you explain the use of XPath and sibling element in XPath? XPath is used in Selenium to locate element an HTML or XML document, especially when ID or class dynamically are missing. XPath sibling access, which provide the native between the element following siblings and present the sibling. We are present with double slash li text Python following siblings in a JavaScript and li text Python preceding slash sibling in a Java. XPath which with a sibling access is helpful when the element don't have unique attribute. You can locate element related other using the following sibling or preceding sibling. What is the difference between implicit wait and explicit wait in a Selenium? Could you also provide the syntax? Implicit wait. Im- Wait for the specific time or all the element appear before the through an exception. Applied globally and for the WebDriver session. Explicit wait for the specific condition is a true for a specific element, more flexible and precise than implicit wait. We are comparing with like a feature implicit wait explicit scope applied to all element, applied to a specific element in a condition. Flexibility less flexible, high customization. Uses set once, used where needed. Wait for any element, wait for specific conditions. Could you write a program for taking a screenshot in Selenium? First, we initialize a Selenium import driver. Then we are open a website driver webdriver.chrome, then driver.get to open a website. Then we take a screenshot driver.save screenshot. There is a path which located screenshot, and then we close the driver after, and then we screenshot take a save the screenshot the current page. File is saved in the same directory unless full path is provided. What is the XPath in Selenium and what are the different types? XPath language is used in Selenium locate element in a HTML DOM using the path expression. It is a very powerful when element do not have a stable IDs or classes. Types of XPath, first is absolute and second is a relative XPath. Absolute path starts the root and for the full path, not recommended frankly, and we present with single slash html slash body slash div, and relative path start from any element using the double slash, recommended for stable and flexible locator. We start with double slash input at the id username. Explain the use of annotation in Selenium from a manual tester perspective. In a Python, we use a decorator similar to annotation in a Java to define the test flow using framework like a PyTest or unit test. Common PyTest annotation like a decoder and purpose. Py.fixture used to define a setup or tear down logic launching the browser. PyTest marks use fixture applied in a fixture or test, and py.marks skip the test PyMarks parameter run the same test and with a different data. Manual tester viewpoint, PyDath fixer act like a before method or the after method in a Java. You don't need repeat setup tear down code in every test. Make test automation script clean, structure and easier to maintain. What is the difference between get and navigate in Selenium? Get method used to launch URL in a browser. It wait until the page is fully loaded. Belong the WebDriver interface. Driver.get present with the example.com. Navigate method also used for navigate the URL similar to get. It part of the native interface and can be used along with the forward backward refresh method. Driver.native or two example fix we compare with get and the navigate. Get interface with we are use a web driver and interface with a navigation driver. Page wait for a page to fully loaded and the navigation does not support the component. Extra feature only open the page and can be used with the backward and forward page. How do you handle multiple window or tab using window in Selenium? Each browser window tab opened by Selenium has a unique window handle and alphanumeric ID. You can switch between them using this handle. Step to handle the multiple window. First, get the main window handle. Main underscore window equal to driver dot current window handle. Perform action that open a new tabs. Get all the window handles all the window underscore driver dot window handle. Switch the new window for handle in a all window. If handle equal not main window, driver dot switch with a handle. Perform action on the new window. Switch back to the main window if needed. Driver dot switch the window. Conclusion, use driver dot window handle to get open a window and driver switch to the handle. Between these essential when we dealing with the pop-ups, external links and new tabs. What are a mouse action in Selenium and how are they implemented? Mouse action in Selenium use to perform a user interaction like hovering mouse, right click, double click, drag and drop, click and hold. We implemented in a Python how we use the action and class for the interaction. Example like hover and click. We slice the Selenium WebDriver in an action chain and then element dot driver find the element in a ID and keyword and the action equal to action chain and driver or action and method dot click the perform. There is a other mouse action like hover, right click, double click, drag and drop and click hold. Hold the element and drag and drop the element and the click the move on the element. What are the different type of locator available in Selenium? Selenium provide eight type of locator to identify the interact with web element pages. First, ID driver dot find element ID, then keyword. Use name using name driver dot find, then name and email ID. The class and name use the driver dot find, use the class name and button login. And the tag name basically driver dot find using tag and then input link text using the driver dot find element and then password. Match the partially text and length with the driver.find element partially linked to the forget and the CSS selector. See, very powerful, and test uses a CSS selector driver to find and CSS selector input text. Verify the support complex on DOM, and we use the XPath. What are what are the expectations in a Java, and how are they handled in a Selenium? An exception is an unaccepted event event or error that occur during program execution, which distribute the normal flow of the application. We, for example, try to access missing web element, perform action before the element, and the common exception in a Java class, exception and reason. There is a no such element exception, and the element not found in the DOM. Timeout exception, element not found the wait time, and the element not interface exception, element exists but can't interact with. St- uh, Stale element refer the exception. DOM change after locating the element. WebDriver exception, browser and WebDriver issue. How try catch bug the and the catch the handler gracefully. We use the catch for multiple, and then we select with the web element button equal to driver find and by the ID, then submit the version, and after the catch that we execute and first they give the message. And how does try catch block work in a Java? It is a possible to have a multiple catch block. A try-catch block is used to handle exception error gracefully and prevent the program from a crash. Try block code that many through the exception, and catch is are code that handle the exception. There is a code that might throw the exception 10 divided by 0 that will get error. Then we use the catch block can't divide by the 0 exception. Have, yeah, you have a multiple class blocks? Yes, you can handle the different type of exceptions separately using the catch blocks. Like we use the try then string dot null, we give the null input and the system dot println, we checking the length. After the we use the catch null point the exception system dot println null value not found, and the system dot println some exception or and the multiple time we use the catch block. What is keyboard action supported by Selenium, and how do you perform them? Common keyword in Selenium: type text, press the special key, enter, tab, shift, alter, escape, etc, and key combination like control C uh, and control V, control A, uh, and perform the keyboard action in Python. Selenium for the send key. Using the send key, forward the keyword action from Selenium WebDriver key import, like send the text. We use the send the text and hello world, and then we send the text using key enter the key, and then we send the key and the key dot control A, and the send key and the key dot tabs, and control C is a copy, and then we control with the send key with the copy. How to handle a JavaScript alert and pop-ups in Selenium? Type of Java alert: simple, just OK button, confirmation OK and cancel, prompt alert input box and OK cancel, and handle with the Python example like switch to alert equal to switch to the alert, and then accept alert OK, then we perform accept. Dismiss alert, we write the just alert dot dismiss and get the alert text equal to alert dot text, and then print. Send the prompt alert dot send, and take a alert dot accept. What is the difference between verify and assert in the test automation? We differentiate between the assert and the verify. First, behavior on failure. Stop the test execution immediately if the condition fails. Log the failure but condition continuous test execution. Use case used when the test can't proceed if the condition fails, and use when you want to check multiple condition and continuation regulation and the failure. Example like common in TestNG, JUnit or Java, often implemented via soft assertion or custom method. Assert equal to hard validation is stop test or failure. Verify soft assertion continue every even the check fails. Does Selenium support API testing? If so, how can you take it? No, Selenium is a primarily UI web emulator, does not natively support API testing. How to integrate with API testing with the Selenium? We can compile a Selenium with API tool or library test frame to cover the both UI and API testing. In Java, use REST asserts or HTTP client alongside Selenium. In Python, we use the request library with the Selenium. What are the various agile ceremony, and what is your involvement in then? We just attend with sprint planning. In sprint planning, plan what will we do in upcoming sprint and my role. Review, understand the story, provide the effort, and estimated the test task, and identify the test scenario early. And the daily stand up is scrum meeting, team sync up, and blocker and daily goals, and then we blocker environment and use the defects and coordinate with the developer and BA needs, and a sprint review per show the complete feature of the stakeholder, and ensure the test and meet the acceptance criteria, provide the summary of the bug needed, and the sprint retrospect. There is a share the feedback and the QA perspective and suggest the process and improve the earlier better document. What is a test plan and what the key components should include? Test plan is a formal documentation that outline the scope, approach, resource, and schedule of the testing activities. It act a roadmap for the testing process, and key component of the test plan: test ID, objective, purpose of a goal and test, and scope, what will we want to be tested, and test strategy, manual automation, and level up the testing, and the resource, test tool, the environment, test reliability, and the report test cases logs as suitable, and milestone to test the timeline and criterias, and risk mitigation, then approval sign up the from stakeholder. What is different between driver dot quite and driver dot close? Basically, the function close the driver browser tab or window, and the driver dot quite close all the browser window and end web session, and WebDriver session remain active if the other tab are open. end with the entire session completely. Use case है when you want to close, just tab or finish. Use when you are is finished. Driver dot close closes current tab only. Driver dot quite close all tabs and kill the browser process. Conclusion है when the working with the multiple tabs and window at the end of the test fully existed with the browser and release the memory. When and why you use the link test locator. When to use when locating the hyperlink by the stacked visibility text, and the link is static and unique on the page. And why the simple readable differentiate and the identify links, avoid complex XPath or CSS link with the test if sufficient, ideal for native link menus and the footer links. And the driver dot found link dot context dot links conclusion, and the we links text when we want to do quickly readable and interact with the specific link on the text. When should partially link test located be used in Selenium? When the full link test is too long, dynamically and partially no. When you want to match the portion of the visibility in an anchor tag, and why we use the partial link useful for link test changes slightly, has a time spent and dynamically values. Help to locate is when only part of the predictable, like a Python driver dot find element partial link and forget and then click. This would be matched like a link to forward the password. Conclude we partially when the exact the link is fixed and fully and but consistent, making it a flexible or dynamic UI screener scenario. What are the Selenium and suite component? The Selenium suite component are the Selenium ID integrated environment and tool Firefox and record the playback and test the without the program based beginning with the quite the prototype and limitation Selenium WebDriver, and with we tool use core API browser automation and code. We use the language like Java, Python or C Sharp and build best for customized test automation and support for multiple browser platform, and the grid distribution tool execution system, but the run in the parallel across the multiple machine and browser across the browser, and then the cross platform testing, and then Selenium RC remote control system, and the old tool used to run the test via the server replaced by the WebDriver and due to perform a flexible and the issues. Thank you for watching.